experienced hikers, a remote Alaskan wilderness, a final message that said everything was all good. And then, silence. For 6 years, nobody knew what happened to Steve and Natalie Brody. No clues, no bodies, no answers. Until climbers found something frozen deep inside a glacier, something no one was prepared to see. This is the haunting, unexplained mystery of the Brodys, a case so strange that even investigators refuse to give a clear explanation. Steve and Natalie Brody were the kind of couple people admired. They weren't reckless thrill seekers, they were experienced, calm, methodical hikers. Friends described Steve as analytical, quiet, a man who planned everything down to the last detail. Natalie was the opposite, outgoing, instinctive, full of life. Together, they balanced each other perfectly. They had hiked mountains in Canada, forests in Oregon, and icy trails in Montana. But Alaska was their dream. Not the tourist paths, not the guided routes. They wanted the untouched wild. In July 2017, they finally got their chance. A remote trail in Denali National Park, rarely visited, barely documented, and known for unpredictable weather. Before leaving, Steve told a friend, "It's risky, but that's the point." On July 14th, 2017, at 4:12 p.m., the Brodys sent a satellite message. Reached the Tlat River. All good. It was routine, calm, nothing unusual. But this message would become the last piece of communication the world ever received from them. Because 2 days later, their GPS beacon, which had worked perfectly for years, suddenly went dark. Not low battery, not weak signal, just dark. As if someone or something had turned it off. Within 48 hours, park rangers launched a search. Helicopters scanned the valley. Ground teams followed riverbanks and ridges. Thermal drones flew for hours. But the wilderness of Denali is cruel. Steep cliffs, hidden gorges, shifting ice, and unpredictable storms. After 6 exhausting days, a search team found something. A tent, neatly pitched, in a sheltered valley. But inside the tent, something was wrong. There were no sleeping bags, no hiking boots, no cooking gear, no sign of struggle. Everything looked almost too neat, like the couple had stepped outside for a minute and never returned. A ranger later said, "It looked staged." But staged by whom and why? With no clues, no bodies, and no leads, the Brodys' disappearance was classified as missing under unclear circumstances. For the next 6 years, the case grew colder, both literally and figuratively. Online forums debated theories. Animal attack? River accident? Hypothermia? Human foul play? Something paranormal? But none of the theories fit. For one simple reason. If they left their tent barefoot and without gear, a single night. Yet no tracks, no clothing, no remains were ever found. It was as if the wilderness swallowed them whole. In 2023, 2 climbers exploring a glacier deep in Denali spotted something shocking. 2 human figures, frozen inside a crevasse, like statues trapped in ice. They were perfectly preserved, the kind of preservation only sub-zero temperatures can create. Rescue teams extracted the bodies, and DNA confirmed the impossible. They were Steve and Natalie Brody. But the discovery raised far more questions than it answered, because the couple was found miles away from the original campsite, in an area even seasoned hikers avoid, wearing oversized winter gear that didn't match their supplies. Where did that extra clothing come from? How did they reach such a dangerous glacier without boots or gear? Why were their bodies positioned as though they had fallen, but at different angles? The autopsy results disturbed everyone. Steve Brody had a crushed wrist and a violently removed eye. Not pecked by an animal, not lost during the fall, removed before the freezing process began. Meanwhile, Natalie had only minor bruises, no severe injuries, no signs of falling. And around her neck, something even stranger, a Swedish passport belonging to Lars Anderson, a man who disappeared in Norway in 2009, a man with zero known connection to the Brodys. To this day, Norwegian authorities say Anderson was never found. So how did his passport end up with Natalie in Alaska 14 years later? No answer has ever been given. Investigators offered minimal explanations, so the world filled in the blanks. Theory 1. A hermit or underground dweller. Remote parts of Alaska have hermits who avoid civilization, some aggressively so. Could the Brodys have crossed paths with someone living off-grid, someone who didn't want to be found? But how does that explain the Norwegian passport? Theory 2. Criminal activity. Some believe the couple encountered someone dangerous, a smuggler or fugitive. But Alaska State Police found no tracks, camps, or evidence of anyone else. Theory 3. Environmental disorientation. Denali is known for glacier mirages, illusions caused by shifting ice and light. Could they have been misled toward the glacier? But this doesn't explain the injuries or extra clothing. Theory 4. International connection. Did the Brodys somehow meet Lars Anderson years after he disappeared? Highly unlikely. No records, no sightings, no communication. Theory 5. Something unexplainable. Some say there are parts of Alaska where compasses fail, weather shifts violently, and people disappear without logical explanation. Park rangers will never officially admit this, but one anonymously said, "There are places here where GPS stops working, and you don't want to know why." The Brodys' bodies were frozen in positions that looked almost peaceful, as if they had simply sat down and waited. But the condition of Steve's wrist and the missing eye tell a different story. Something happened in the days after their last message. Something violent, something desperate. Yet Natalie's injuries were mild, and she carried someone else's passport, as if she was trying to deliver a clue. Today, their story stands as one of Alaska's most chilling wilderness enigmas. No one knows how the Brodys ended up in that glacier. No one knows what happened in the valley. No one knows why a passport from 2009 was around Natalie's neck. But we do know this: the wilderness remembers everything, even when we don't understand what it's trying to say. And some mysteries are frozen forever.